Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat Like video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very strong run I made from 2775 all the way up to Legend with this team. This team is exceptionally strong, and if you're looking to gain some elo, push Veteran, Expert, Legend, this team is it. I played this team for probably like 10 or 12 sets, and I actually played it in two different ways. I played it as an ABA style team, which means we have two Pokemon with common weaknesses in the front and the back. Vigoroth weak to counter, Piloswine weak to counter. Basically, the goal of this team is to make sure that you don't get Vigoroth lined up onto your Piloswine, and also what we're looking to do is get a farm down and a shield advantage for Piloswine. As you're about to see here in this matchup, we lost the lead, okay? So it's like, oh no, the opponent's going to RPS me. No, they're not. We're going to farm this the whole way down. Shield wants farm it the whole way down, and in comes Vigoroth, right? So like, oh no, the counter user's on my Piloswine. Well, guess what, buddy? Piloswine hits like an absolute truck. 70% of Vigoroth's health is just gone. It's just gone. All because we just give up lead. We're like, you know what? You want to take out my Vigoroth? That's absolutely fine. We're not taking Vigoroth right here. We still have Dusclops, which is like a decent enough answer to it. And Dusclops is just, it's so good in this meta, guys. It has Ice Sponge coverage for the Flyers and Dragons, which are absolutely everywhere. And Poltergeist just hits like an absolute nuke. The amount of people I almost one-shot in this video with Poltergeist was kind of insane. Nobody was respecting this. So basically, guys, here's the strategy. Get a shield advantage for Piloswine. Absolutely YOLO hard-hitting Poltergeists at things. If they shield, you've got a shield advantage. If they don't shield, well, bye-bye like 80% of your health, right? That's literally how this team works, and it worked exceptionally well. As you're seeing here, because we got that energy lead, we're able to take out the Vigoroth, farm down the Jangmo-O, and that's a good game well played. So basically the team plan working to perfection right there. Just before we hop into this next battle, if you can quickly drop a like on the video if you haven't yet done so, that'd be very much appreciated. Let me know in the comments how well this team works for you if you do try it. A few members of our Discord have tried it. One of them's hit Legend, and a couple of them are super positive with this team. So once again, I do recommend getting on it straight away. If you do want to join us in Discord, it's in the description. I was streaming in Discord today and I just came up with this team. I knew that Piloswine was quite decent last time around, and I just was noticing a ton of Dragons and Flyers in the meta. So this team is not copied from anywhere else. This is an original team, which is basically what I try to do in this channel. Sometimes I do copy teams, but I will say like, hey, this is this person's team. I think last season I hit Legend with Poker Grind's team, so it actually is quite nice this season to hit Legend with my own team. So by the looks of it here, we're committing to the farm down. As you've seen right there, once again we land the Avalanche on the Vigoroth, farm it the whole way down with Powder Snow, and get off like 50% damage on the Charjabug. Piloswine is just insanely underrated, and this is basically absolute curtains for the opponent here. Discharge doesn't do that much damage, right? I think the opponent sees the writing on the wall here and basically gives up the match. But honestly guys, I'm super happy I hit Legend, man. If you guys have been watching for a while, I got to 2997 a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 2997. I absolutely tanked. My Sableye just got so unlucky in the lead, kept seeing like Lickitungs, kept seeing Wigglytuffs. I had an awful run. I think I lost 11 games in a row. And of course I was recording some Spice battles in the 2600s. I dropped all the way to 2300, so I'm super happy I was able to do super well in Ultra League last week, and basically come up with a good team that works in day one. Now, will the opponent respect the Poltergeist? Ladies and gents, they do not. Goodbye. 70% of Charjabug's health, goodbye. We're basically putting this into a farm down range for you-know-who. We have the Ice Punch there, we don't throw it, and we're going to come in with the Piloswine and start farming it up. Now, a couple of these battles are whenever the game was kind of bugging earlier, so the opponent's using Spark, and in comes a Graveler. Ladies and gents, on PV Poke, it'll tell you to run Stone Edge, but ladies and gents, we do not read PV Poke. We live and die by the high horsepower out here. We're farming down this thing. They can get off one more move, that's perfectly fine. As you can see, my counter was not sneaking here, which is kind of annoying. It kind of screwed me on a few occasions today, but I think it actually helped me out on a few occasions as well. Thankfully, you know, you gotta give credit where it's due to Niantic. They actually fixed it relatively quickly. And with that being said, let's hop into the next battle. Go Bat lead. I have never seen them no-shield this move, right? So like, basically what happened to me today, I hopped on, played some battles. The very first battle of the day, I baited a Golbat with the Rock Slide. I was like, okay, they shield the Rock Slide, let's throw the Body Slam. The opponent no-shields it like an absolute mad lad. And ever since then, I've been throwing the Rock Slide ever since. Now what I decided to do is catch the resisted move here on the Dusclops, because I knew the opponent would try to go for a CMP tie. And at this point, guys, we're in a very, very good position. Now, I don't often shield up Dusclops, but I think this is a good opportunity to do so. And the opponent does go for another bait, which is absolutely disgusting here. We are getting a decent amount of energy up, and you might be asking me, should I use Feint Attack or Hex? I prefer Hex, it's much better for energy generation. You can use Feint Attack if you want, but sort of the purpose of this Pokemon is to deal with things like Primeape as well, which would be resisted, so I do prefer that. Now, we're just going to get off as much damage as possible here, and basically keep this alignment. Actually, I come in and YOLO the Body Slam. Generally speaking, guys, if you don't have this Body Slam loaded, you would just try to keep that alignment. But actually, look at the situation we're in right now. The opponent still has to throw a move. So I'm like, should I come in with this? Yeah, we're going to come in here. basically absorb the damage, and it's basically time to start farming down with the Palo. We've got a shield, the opponent does not, they don't get any extra farm. In comes Dragonair. Hello Dragonair. Goodbye Dragonair. Avalanche coming through. This will of course like to one-shot the Dragonair. And the Golbat was pretty dry on energy. It doesn't matter if they get to the move or not. That's going to be good games, and as I mentioned before, energy advantage, shield advantage. Piloswine basically beats 90% of teams. Now, you guys seen how good high horsepower is? High horsepower, it's a less energy efficient move, but it does more damage. So if you ever get into a situation where you've got, let's say, 1 or 2 shields, right? The opponent's got a Primeape. You need to throw the high horsepower on the Primeape. I thought I'd just give you that little tidbit of information towards the start of the video, because Primeape is a bit of a core breaker for this team. You can get a shield with Vigoroth. Of course, if you get an energy lead, you can one-shot it with the Mamoswine. Sorry, I always forget the name of it. It's a Piloswine, of course. But in general, Dusclops is your main answer to it, and you really try to get that alignment if you can. So as you guys can see here, we got a shield, and the opponent, again, Ebbia weak to this Mamoswine. It's not a right, guys, it's just Mamoswine. We're going to change the graphic. Actually, Mamoswine. But basically, we farm up, and guys, I made a mistake here. I should have threw the move a little bit sooner. A little bit too greedy there. Should have threw off the move a little bit sooner. I could have basically just shielded again and farmed it the whole way down, so a little bit unfortunate there. But we do come out with a lot of energy for the Togetic, or whatever wants to come in. Now, the opponent is coming into Togetic, which is noteworthy. Are they trying to absorb the energy? Looks like they are, and they come in with the Arctobax. We even get off a last-second move, and this is absolutely huge. This could be what we need to win this game. We're going to come into Dusclops. Ice Punch is neutral, so I think you guys know what time it is. We're going to farm up. We can need any one move. Icy Wind coming through. The opponent debuffs our attack. Do you think we care? Do you think we care? We're going to basically go for a one and throw here. Dragon Claw coming through. Does not KO the bulky Dusclops. By the way, Dusclops is an XL Pokemon, and it's doing insane damage, even debuffed by 1 stage with Poltergeist. If that's not a reason to run it, I don't know what is. Now, here is the core breaker, guys. Primeape is certainly very tricky for this team. What I decided to do at this point was just go for the move straight away. Try to grab the shield off them, right? That's what we're doing with this. Basically, let them take you out. And I think you're able to get to 2 body slams with the sneak not working properly. So this should not be able to happen. The opponent should have got a counter through, which would have KO'd us. But because the game's broken, I was able to get off 2 body slams, so I was able to take advantage of that. And we're going to come into Dusclops. So this team that you're about to watch right here, and it's a team that I was actually testing out earlier as well. It's basically Primeape in the lead with Vigoroth in the back. Ebbia counter. This team in particular is why I decided to run Dusclops late, because I did start seeing it a little bit, and it kind of made things very, very awkward. As you can see, they're forcing shields off the Dusclops. I come in and go for the aggro swap. The opponent aggro swaps as well. Can we get to the high horsepower in time? We can, but unfortunately the opponent does slightly outpace the Rock Blast. A little bit unfortunate there. We're going to get off the high horsepower, and it's going to be very, very tricky to win this match still. We absolutely one-shot the Graveler. The opponent will most likely come in and counter us down with something here. Let's see what they want to do. They come in with a Primeape, and they actually come into a Piloswine of their own. We do just about reach the Avalanche. This does about 60% to the non-shadow. Let's have a look here. Yeah, about 60%. We have the Poltergeist locked and loaded, and we're going to YOLO it off here. The opponent was just getting to the move. Absolutely unnecessary probably for the Poltergeist, but you absolutely love to see that. We didn't beat the Primeape lead, but I do definitely recommend running this as an ABB style team with Dusclops in the lead for that reason. Now, if you guys like the look of this with Vigoroth in the lead, that's perfectly fine. We're showing you how to play this side of things as well. Pretty much in this matchup, you give up 1 shield, they give up 2. That's your goal for this. Get a shield advantage, right? We've seen it once, we've seen it 100 times already. And we're going to go for the second body slam. The opponent played on very bad timing, which actually gave me a free counter. So here we are, folks. We're just going to safe swap into Dusclops, just in case the opponent does have their own Vigoroth. I want to keep a little bit of health on mine, just in case I need some counter damage later on. And we're basically going to look to go for an Ice Punch and take this thing out. I could have come in, shielded once, went for the farm down, but I decided I want to go for this instead. Now, in comes Charge Bug, ladies and gents. The opponent does not have a shield. Should I shield this? Yes. Obviously, bro. We're going to go for 1 and 4 on the Poltergeist. Guys, you've seen it before. This Poltergeist is going to absolutely rip it to shreds, and the opponent is even still forced to throw a move. I end up getting to another move, and basically at this point we're looking to sweep up with Piloswine. We're going to aggro swap, and it is a Vigoroth in the back. Is this trouble for us here? Now, I can live any one move here, and if you're looking to do the most raw damage, guys, you go for the high horsepower in this situation, right? I was a little bit unaware of this Pokemon still. That would have done a little bit extra damage, and that would have put it in a more comfortable position. So that was definitely a moment there to learn from. As you can see, like, it is a little bit tricky with this thing in the back. The opponent will get to this move. Very unfortunate here. They were able to sweep the Pilo, but had I actually went for the high horsepower there, I actually might have KO'd them. And once again, guys, that's kind of why I prefer to have Dusclops in the lead and my own fully healthy Vigoroth in the back. Dusclops more than capable of getting the shields in the front, and as you guys can see at this point, we're up to about 28-15. So we have climbed here about 40 points at this point, and we're still running with the Vigoroth lead. At this point, I was starting to think, like, yeah, maybe it would just be better to run Dusclops, right? Because I have the Ice Punch coverage for this thing in the front. I've got the Ice Punch for the Golbats. and it does pretty neutrally into Vigoroth. Now right here, the opponent gives up a very nice early shield for me. Very, very happy with that. Yeah, Dazzling Gleamy, I don't care. We're going to swap into our Dusclops right here. And again, that's the sort of awkward thing about playing it as an ABSL team. You're more inclined to swap out, whereas I felt with Dusclops, I was just able to stay in and do whatever. Now the opponent comes into their own Vigoroth. This is absolutely perfect, and this is exactly what we want with this team. We either want to play the Vigoroth Mirror, or have it on Dusclops, so this is perfectly fine here. I'm more than happy to no shield. I'm going to let all these Rock Slides through. I'll try to get off 2 more Ice Punches if possible, which will get them basically into a farm down range for my own Vigoroth, or I could even go for a Powder Snow down, potentially. So Ice Punch number 1 coming through. The opponent will be forced to throw a move here, so the opponent's basically dry, right? They have to go for the big move. A Body Slam won't do it. Boom. Rock Slide coming through. Now on this occasion, what I do end up deciding to do is go for the counter down with Vigoroth. Normally I would go for the Powder Snow down, and they come back into Togetic once again. So I guess at this point I was looking to keep Piloswine just tucked away in the back. I do get off that move. Unfortunately, I don't go for the proper move. The opponent goes for an Aerial Ace once again, and I'm going to aggro swap into the Piloswine at this point. We're going to look to basically commit to the farm down. If this is a Dazzling Gleam, I can live it. I wasn't sort of banking on the fact that it would be, and we're going to farm it the whole way. Unfortunately, the opponent does get off a second one, and we'll have to shield up here just to retain some health. But we're up basically almost 2 Avalanches with this, and that puts any Pokemon in the back in a very precarious position. The opponent comes into a Crocalor. This Pokemon is a huge core breaker for this team. We go for high horsepower number 1, and we basically just need to make it to another high horsepower. This should absolutely one-shot them. The Vigoroth was pretty low. Can we farm it down? We do just about farm it down, almost the same LKO. But good games well played. And yeah, Crocalor is certainly a core breaker for this team. In general, you will find it either in the front or the back, so it's kind of difficult to get it lined up onto your own Vigoroth. You can play it out with Dusclops, of course, go for the bait if you want to, or go for the Poltergeist. But yeah, definitely will be a tricky Pokemon for this team. And again, we have another Togetic lead. I guess people are hunting for the Dragon leads, and it does know Ancient Power as well. So Togetic, while a very negative matchup, has some coverage against Golbat. Aerial Ace coming through, not too worried about it. We're just going to start punching away at this little, I don't know what the hell this thing is, but we're going to throw Rock Slide on it. It doesn't like Rock Slides, I know that much. So yeah, we absolutely do not care here. We are going to eat whatever they want to throw. Dazzling Gleam, Aerial Ace, you name it, we eat it. And, you know, generally speaking, they don't double shield on the lead. So it basically puts them into a sort of like a nice farm down, but this opponent does double shield the Togetic in the lead, which is very unusual, and it looks like they are committing to the farm down. Now we do get off a Body Slam, and I think they end up CMPing. The opponent's just an absolute shambles here right now. With that CMP, we can actually come into the Mamo. In comes Dragonair, and we actually catch the Body Slam on Dusclops and get the Hex through. That right there was just absolute filth. We do lose CMP to the Dragonair, so we sort of do need to throw that. And because we get the Hex free, we can outpace the Ice Punch and basically look to take out the Denair. In comes the Togetic once again, and I'm like, you know what, bro? No, absolutely not. We're not going to shield up the Aerial Ace now. We're going to look to go for an Ice Punch, and we're going to have a wee look in the back. What's in there? Why were you double shielding? Okay. Not quite what I was expecting. I mean, they double shielded the Togetic in the lead against the Vigoroth, so obviously they didn't like to see it. I come in with the Piloswine, look to go for Avalanche. That's basically game over. We should be able to farm it down from here. So yeah, the opponent was weak to Vigoroth, but at a certain point, like, you either commit to the farm down or just come in with Dragonair and farm it down, so like, not that big of a deal. And once again, guys, for some reason, we're just getting an absolute ton of these leads, and in comes a Dragonair safe swap. This is definitely not an answer for Dusclops. Ice Punch from the non-Shadow does not KO. And by the way, guys, I mean, I don't know how good the Shadow is, but if you simulate it on PvPoke, it seems to lose quite a lot of matchups. So if you guys have a non-Shadow, I do genuinely think that is a lot better. Anyway, once again here, we've accomplished what we're trying to do. We're basically trying to get shields down for the Piloswine, and we're forcing the opponent for energy. I may have just about got to the next Ice Punch, so this is perfect here at this point. Now, I will have to shield up an Aqua Tail. This would do an awful lot of damage to the Mamo. It's not a Mamo. I would live the move, of course, but we do want to keep some health on this thing. So now we're 0-0, and they come back into Togetic. What could it possibly be in the back? Togetic lead, Dragonair safe swap. It's just Togetic double Dragon. They go for the move, and of course I catch it. So just in this game, I've had the opponent in just absolute shambles, and they do top left. Good games to the opponent there. I was catching every single move on them, and in this next game we've got quite an interesting lead. We have the Primeape. Now I often see this with Vigoroth in the back. I've seen it with like Vigoroth Dragonair, or like Vigoroth and a Flyer. It's going to be very awkward to deal with, especially whenever the opponent gets the boost. They do get the boost here, so they should be pretty inclined to shield this here. I'm not even building up to the high horsepower, or sorry, the Poltergeist. I just need some guaranteed damage on this thing. And thankfully the opponent's playing along here a little bit. They're allowing me to get off Ice Punches, and I more or less need to get this into a range where it's manageable. If I leave this too healthy, it's going to be trouble. The opponent actually could have threw the move, but they allow me to get this off. This is pretty huge here, and it doesn't really show my hand as being super weak to it in the back. Now this is still quite unfortunate, because like, if I come in with anything, I'm going to have to shield it. I would take boosted counters on both Pokemon. I decide to throw in Vigoroth. Arguably I could have let this go, but I decide like they have got their own Vigoroth in the back. I need to counter this down with my own. Thankfully the opponent comes into their Vigoroth, and that actually gives me a huge chance in this matchup. As long as it's something in the back, any flyer, any dragon, I think we have a chance here. The opponent will get off this body slam here, which unfortunately will look to KO, and basically we have to commit to the farm down. The opponent's going to get off the next move. I do have quite a good IVs on my Vigoroth, so I oftentimes do lose CMP, quite unfortunate. But we do get this massive farm down, we're on 2 HP. What can we beat? The opponent comes into their own Piloswine. Right here I say, hello Piloswine, my name is Piloswine. I'm going to look to get off 2 avalanches on 1 HP and just about clutch up this match. Piloswine, it has a decent stat product. It's not like super bulky. It's like fairly glassy, it's on the glassier side, but it's not so glassy where, as you can see, we're not able to get off moves. And as you can see in this next game, the opponent comes into a charge bug. I don't have an amazing answer for this except for like a Piloswine. Bro, I'm not even trying to call it Piloswine. But anyway guys, no fucking around here. We're going to go straight for the Poltergeist. Will they respect it? They absolutely do not. We catch the move in Vigoroth. Honestly, people, I don't know why, but they just don't expect you to be running that move. I think the traditional moveset is sometimes if they're purified, they have return. But I think most people are on double punch. I just absolutely love landing these Poltergeists. And you're going to see a lot more of them in this video as well. Dragonair coming through. I'm pretty happy to invest a shield. I don't think it's quite in a comfortable farm down range. If I can get one more shield off the opponent, I'm pretty satisfied here. I do think they'll try to shield and farm down. Yep, they do shield and try to go for the farm down here. We get for a lot of damage, and what I'm going to look to do here is come into the Dusclops to absorb the energy, and then just hard swap into the Pilo. Look to get the energy lead as always. We insta swap and we actually get 2 Powder Snows ahead. Now normally avalanches are 6, 6, 5, and body slams are straight 5. So with 2 Powder Snows advantage in the ones, we can actually beat this Vigoroth. Or at the very least, we can do heavy damage, and hopefully put it in a position where Dusclops can get off an Ice Punch. The Dragonair is basically on 1 HP, so we don't need to come up with a charge attack for it. My only goal here is basically, yep, CMP tie here. The opponent, if they go for an undercharge, I think they just get farmed down, so they sort of have to get rid of me. I go for the Ice Punch. I'm still on a decent amount of health, and again, I do think the non-shadows on this team is a lot better, because like in these situations where you need a little bit of health, I think the health is much more beneficial than the extra damage at times. Hopping into the next one here, Dragonair lead. Let's see how we decide to play this one. Sometimes, well oftentimes this has Vigoroth in the back, so I actually don't mind shielding once and trying to get both shields. Kind of what we were doing with Vigoroth earlier. Basically leave yourself with like a somewhat healthy Dusclops and swap out after throwing the second Ice Punch. The opponent makes a really nice catch on the Vigoroth, but they're just basically walking straight into our plan here. We come into our own Vigoroth. We do normally lose CMP, so I shouldn't really go for it here, but we do go for it. See what the opponent wants to do. If you're ever going to come into the Vigoroth mirror, you should chip it with Dusclops first, if that ever happens. Let's say they instantly swap into Vigoroth, you stay in with Dusclops, throw the Ice Punch, then go into your own, and that'll basically put you in a position to take it out. Of course we go for CMP right here, but look at this perfect position we're in now. This is the absolute perfect farm down for Pilo, and at this point if they come into anything, they're going to get absolutely wrecked. Now no matter what, we need to throw 2 moves on this thing. We definitely go straight for the Avalanche, and the opponent smartly swaps out because I basically dumped all my energy. We even do make it to an Ice Punch. Now I decide to let this go here, and basically commit to a hard farm down. The opponent will be 2 volt switches away from a move, so I thought it would be just a little bit easier here to shield up once here, commit to the farm down, and that way they definitely won't be able to get to a move on the Charger Bug. Because if I shield up and Ice Punch them right, the opponent gets through like an extra like 2 volt switches, which means they can look to like double X's or potentially my Piloswine and take the match. So I decide, okay, we'll force the energy from the opponent and then look to go for farm down of our own here. We have a very interesting lead here. We have Charge Bug. This is a pretty neutral lead for Dusclops, unless you land the big move right. So let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to go straight for a discharge. Sometimes they bait in this situation, which is kind of insane. They throw in bad timing, so I'm able to throw in 2, which is not great timing, but the opponent lets it through once again. We come in and start countering it, and we will have to eat 1 X scissor. I'm more than happy with that because we have like a half health Dusclops, and the opponent comes in behind on energy. Of course, they've got a huge health advantage, but behind on energy against the Vigoroth here. This is absolute perfection. I decide to shield up because I will get to another move. I throw up the shield, we'll either get rid of this thing right here and look to sweep it with the back 2 Pokemon, or we'll get shields down, and that's basically going to set us up to Poltergeist or Avalanche something in the back. We come in with Dusclops, force the energy here, and I think I'm going to basically aggro swap as soon as they throw this off here. It'll give us an extra Powder Snow through. Yep, the opponent does not react quickly enough, we farm it the whole way down, and they come into a Dragonair. The opponent clearly does not have a good answer to this. Now I'm over farming to almost back to back. The opponent is just at a move here, and I think I will try to go for this move immediately here. Yeah, they actually throw instantly, thinking I may be at back to back. At this point guys, Pilo can sweep it up here. We're going to go for the Avalanche. I went for a slight over farm just in case they caught. They didn't go for it. Boom. That goes through, and we're going to look to farm it the whole way down. Good game to the opponent there. I wonder if they caught, would they have won that match? it would have been very, very close for sure. Because the Dragon Breaths would be doing a lot of damage. So as you guys are seeing, like the Dusclops version of this team just seems to work a lot better. Now here's a very interesting matchup in the lead. The opponent outpaces us here to the moves, and of course they win CMP. The opponent can easily live an Ice Punch, so this is a little bit of a tricky match here. So I decide, you know what, you can easily live an Ice Punch, but surely you can't easily live this. We almost one-shot them and farm them the whole way down. In comes Golbat like a bat out of hell. We're going to Ice Punch it as well, and I think if the opponent didn't shield the first one, they're certainly going to shield this one. What I found oftentimes is if a super effective move from Dusclops like an Ice Punch only does like 40 or 50% to something, let's say for example a non-Shadow Golbat like here, or let's say for example a Togetic, Jangmo-O, oftentimes they're like, yeah, you know, I easily live one, I have to eat one anyway. I just YOLO for the big move and it almost takes them out. It makes absolutely no sense going for a Poltergeist when you have super effective Ice Punch. It's quite a similar situation with Trevenant. A neutral Shadow Ball will do more than a super effective Seed Bomb on the Pokemon. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for. If you get Togetics, or Golbats sometimes, or like Jangmo-Os, if you think they're going to no-shield, go for the Poltergeist. I think the opponent's seen the Pilo and the seen enough, and guys are up to 29-29 Elo, getting very, very close. And in this next set, we see a Piloswine lead, very interesting. The opponent recognizing probably that there's a ton of things that are weak to it in the lead. And we're going to go for the Overfarm here. The opponent does, of course, go for an Avalanche. From the Shadow, this hurts an awful lot here. The opponent's going to go for a Safe Swap into their own Dusclops. Do they respect the Poltergeist? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, bulky Pokemon versus bulky Pokemon, that does not quite KO. It was committing to the farm down. Unfortunately, the opponent got to this move. Shadow Punch is a little bit cheaper. We countered down with Vigoroth, and we should be in an amazing position now. Pretty much all we need to do now at this point is start looking to get shields down. They come in with Golbat here, so I'm fairly satisfied with this. They basically have to shield up Rock Slide. I'm going to go straight for it. I'm not going to mess about. I'll let the first move go through. Oh, I am going to mess about. Never mind. I'm a complete liar. I guess this does make sense, because what are they going to do? Let this onto their Pilo, right? Like, there's not really a whole lot they can do except for shield here. Because even if I land a Body Slam, it's going to do a lot of damage. I go straight for it this time, not messing about. And of course, if they let this through, we're just going to instantly swap. Or no matter what they do, we're going to instantly swap. Yep, so in comes this. The opponent goes for the catch. I go for the high horsepower to guarantee the knockout. An Avalanche from this range will not KO. And it's basically plain sailing from this point. Guys, do I need to say it? Energy lead, shield advantage, Piloswine just sweeps the backline. The combination of Poltergeist on Dusclops and this is just ridiculously good. Now we see a very interesting lead here, it's a Lairon. Now I was expecting this to be Gloom in the back with Razor Leaf, kind of like the, right, so this is the equivalent of Bastiodon. They probably have a Charmer like Brion or whatever, and then they have Gloom in the back. That's what I was expecting here, and the opponent catches a Poltergeist. I was absolutely sick. However, I got it over pretty quickly, right? Absolutely sick catch by the opponent here, but we have got our Dusclops exactly where we want it, and we've got our Vigoroth exactly where we want it. Now the tricky thing here is though, that if they have like a Razor Leafer in the back, how do we beat that thing? We just need to hope that it's not Razor Leaf in the back, otherwise we just lose instantly. They come into a Golbat, okay, so we actually have some chances here. We're going to go straight for the Rock Slide, not messing about, right? The opponent shields it up, and they're going to look to fire off a Poison Fang here. I think I'm going to look to fire off the next move, and I think I even pause the turn to make sure they don't catch it here. Yeah, pause the turn, make sure they don't catch the Rock Slide, because they caught an amazing move earlier. Not going to let that happen twice, and it's Piloswine time. We've got the energy lead, and we're going to see what we can do against the Steel Rock type. I decide, okay, we sort of have to let this move go. It didn't really do that much damage here, and I'm going to go straight for it. It's kind of understandable the opponent would want to call it bait. Thankfully, they do let it free. If they had a shield at that, it might have been just game over for me there. Good games to the opponent. That player was already legend, and they were running some spicy stuff, so you got to give it to him there. Certainly tomorrow, I'm going to be running a lot more spicy things. I'll be doing my Pikachu Libre set and just kind of chilling and enjoying the game. Stress-free battles for a couple of weeks after hitting legend. Here's another example of using Poltergeist instead of Ice Punch. Boom. Does so much damage to it, and they come for a swap into Dragonair. We even leave them a parting gift of an Ice Punch. There was so many situations like this with non-Shadow that I was so happy. Like, being able to get off that last second move, it's a lot more important than doing a little bit of extra hex damage. Like, your Ice Punch does not one-shot them, but it might as well one-shot them. It puts them so low. So I don't think you have any need for Shadow Mamoswine, or Piloswine for that matter, and you certainly don't have any need for the Shadow Dusclops. I do think it would perform better in certain cases. Maybe the Ice Punches would add up a little bit more in Vigoroth. Maybe if you're in the Zero Shield scenario, the Poltergeist would one-shot things. But then again, I feel like people are more likely to shield a Shadow. So it's a double-edged sword, if you like. The opponent comes into their Vigoroth here. This is kind of tricky here, but I think we might be fine here. We get the shield off the opponent, and we're just countering it down. We actually, oh, they make a nice catch and Togetic here. But believe it or not, guys, that's a huge misplay by the opponent. What the opponent needed to do was get rid of my Vigoroth, because we actually have a move loaded on this. We're going to YOLO the high horsepower. just for good measure. I think it is actually possible for Vigoroth to win CMP, by the way, but they would need to have a very attack-weighted one to beat Mamoswine on CMP, so that's something to keep in mind. Of course, Piloswine as well. I can't stop, guys. It's literally not going into my brain. I can't do it. I am forever going to call this Pokemon Mamoswine, but we're up to 29.93. Sorry, I wasn't watching the screen there, but I think, just off the top of my head, I think that was 12 points for a free 2, which is not fantastic. So we do have to play another set out, and we'll see how this goes. We're getting very close to the finish line. I'm not gonna lie, we're starting to get nervous, and we do get a Dusclops lead. What I decide to do is go for the catch on the Poltergeist. The opponent does not fall for it. They overfarm by 1 here. I'm sure they had a Poltergeist caught on them earlier, and they basically throw off the Ice Punch. They're gonna stay in and throw off Ice Punches, so I feel like this is maybe fine. If they do have a Vigoroth, which they do finally come into, we're up 2 Body Slams, and we're up like a Poltergeist worth of energy on our own Dusclops. So we're going to immediately throw these 2 Body Slams, see what they want to do. They can shield, farm us down, that's perfectly fine. And yeah, we're basically putting them into Ice Punch range. Now I'm going to go straight for the Ice Punch and CMP. Even though I lose CMP, it means that they will have to shield if they want to get this next move off. I'm pretty sure this should just about KO from here, so I think this is perfectly fine. Yep, oh it doesn't quite, but we actually get an extra move through. The opponent here has already given up a shield on the Vigoroth in the middle game matchup. We have not given up any shields. Will they double shield this? Boom! Absolutely not. And in comes Togetic. We're going to stay in here. I want to get off another Poltergeist. I decide maybe I just about live this move. I don't want to shield. I don't want to shield my back Pokemon. We're not at the move, unfortunately, so we're going to have to settle for the super effective Ice Punch. I guess it'll have to do. And we have 2 shields now. The opponent, of course, shielded up an Ice Punch anyway, because why would they not? And they, of course, overfarm and let us get off the move. They can go for the Gleam if they want. I'm pretty sure we have a Gleam from that range, and that's good games. So in the last couple of sets, we had a couple of tough games, a couple of sort of easy ones as well. So like, all in all, you know, after hitting 29.97, like I said 2 weeks ago, and going on a huge tank, like, it was just depressing when that happened. It's nice to kind of turn this around, and as you guys can see, the team is absolutely cooking. As you guys can also see, we're playing this out a little bit differently. We're actually throwing up a shield against Dragonair, trying to keep some health on Dusclops, because once again, they do have their own Vigoroth in the back. Dragonair lead, you can almost guarantee that it's going to be something else weak to Ice most of the time, and a Vigoroth in the back. That's what it is most of the time. We're going to basically get off our Body Slam here. The opponent actually lets it free, which is quite interesting. I thought they would give up a shield, try to take the alignment here. I definitely would have preferred a shield, and they come into the Dragonair. So I would say they're probably looking to save the shields for this thing as usual. Yeah, we go for Body Slam. The shield did get the farm down. Dusclops still has a decent amount of energy. Both of the opponent and I are insta-throwing Andes here. Had he went for the overfarm, I would have got an extra move through for free, but I'm just happy to get the shield here. With Vigoroth out of the way, as long as it's not the Uller Monkey, the Uller Punching Monkey Primeape, we should be fine. This is a Nidorina. This is perfectly fine. I was kind of panicking, like, oh, does this thing know any good moves? It seems to be just Poison Fang, Thunderbolt usually. I'm going to go straight for this move. Pretty much the opponent's only win con is to call a bait here. They just, of course, shield the move, which I guess is another sort of win con. Shield the correct move. But there's really not a whole lot I can do at this stage. We're going to go straight for the High Horsepower. They did get a dying move off, but here comes the High Horsepower. Of course, this will one-shot the Nidorina. It's decently bulky, but certainly not that bulky. And guys, as you can see in the decisive Game 5, and what was actually my final day in Go Battle Day, we hit Legend, 3008 ELO, super happy, man. I just want to say, you know, really quickly, I appreciate everybody who's been supporting the videos and, you know, of course, cheering me on to hit Legend this season. I really appreciate it, and at this point, now that I've got my goals out of the way, I can really just focus on uploading, so big thank you to everybody, very much appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, join our Discord community down below. A lot of us are streaming in there and giving away team ideas and stuff, so certainly a great place to go. Thanks everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time.